What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of we'll call this the early edition of the Print Factory Show. I am your host, as normal, JSU. We're talking the main slate, NFL, Week 16. And I got my usual cast of characters. One, Uncle Dunkle, obviously starting up the show. Dunkle, how are we doing today, brother?
I'm doing okay. The show started a little bit late because Anthony Wayne needed to finish his McRib from McDonald's, which, thank God that he ate it safely and got home safely. But yeah, I mean, as you could see, I know that for weeks on end, you guys came prepared with your haircuts. This time I have my haircut. So I'm excited about this show. Fresh fade, if you will. And excited to go into some of these games.
And Dunkel, let me just say first to you, Merry Christmas. I hope you have a very great Christmas. We're obviously recording the show a little earlier than normal, but I just wanted to throw that out there to you. And then we got one, Big T. Big T, what's going on, brother?
How come I don't get a Merry Christmas?
He's like, Dunkel, Merry Christmas. Let's head over to Tony.
We're doing good. I mean, I'm excited. NBA's back today, full swing. I know we had a 2-gamer yesterday, but rolled out a ton of content today. I'm excited about what we got going for basketball. Bets-wise, DFS-wise, I think we got a juggernaut of a team, so I am super excited. The nice thing about this time of year, too, is we have stuff. I mean, football's great. We all three of us love football. But it's once a week, twice a week, a showdown maybe mixed in. Basketball, we're going every day, and it's a fun time of year. I think we got a big ads. I think we can help the people more so than ever right now too. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and if you're a newer subscriber or you just haven't seen, because this is honestly like the first or second day we've rolled out our NBA content. If you don't know, we're going to have multiple shows most days, at least Monday through Friday anyways, for the normal slates, where Big T and Hoop get on around, depending on the slate time, but anywhere from like 4:45 to 5:15 Eastern time. They'll talk about the slate. They'll break things down game by game from their perspective. And then after that, we have another show with me and Holden that'll take you all the way up to lock, where we'll do the final updates on news, go position by position, talk about which players, I like at each position. And then we'll just sit for the rest of the remaining time and answer you guys' questions and talk about the slate. So I really think it's one really helpful because you get the breakdown from Hoop and Big T, and then you get all the questions you want answered from me. And then obviously if you're in the Discord, you're going to get questions answered from AP and Big T and Hoop and Mangone. So it's just a lot going on. But if you haven't checked out NBA, make sure you get over, check out the NBA product, because it's really good. It's really, really good. Tony, did I miss anything?
I mean, I wasn't listening, so.
Perfect. That's exactly why you didn't get a Merry Christmas, fucker, all right? That's exactly why. God damn.
It sounded like you covered it good, though.
Love it.
I'm still getting all my stuff up here. I wasn't ready for the start of the show.
God, all right. This is what I'm talking about, people. This is what I mean. He doesn't listen to me when I speak, and then he wonders why he brings up the rear on this show every single time. That'd be why your ass brings up the rear. All right, that's it. We're done with everything else.
Let's talk winners for the football. Thursday, the Christmas game, and the Saturday. Not DFS, because we're going to cover that in shows. Let's see if Dunkel's got any winners for us in these first couple, though.
All right, Dunkel, take it away, man. What do you got in the Minnesota Vikings, New Orleans Saints game? Saints are the favorites, -6.5. Totals 51.
So, yeah, I'm going to have a video on this game tomorrow where I go deeper into it.
Are you going to tell any stories?
And break it down? Possibly.
Can we get like a good grandma story or something for Christmas?
Maybe. The problem is there's really not a lot of grandma stories outside of the ones where she craps herself.
That's what we want.
But yeah, I mean, we can maybe spin one there tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I right now we'll just be talking from a lean perspective. I haven't dug deeper into this game specifically. That's something on my plate for tomorrow. But at the number, I mean, I definitely at minimum lean Minnesota at 7. The totals again, I have to do a little more deciphering there. but at 7 would definitely lean Minnesota.
All right, and Dunkel, let's just quickly run through the Saturday games just from a betting perspective, unless Tony has anything else to add on the Minnesota game.
I mean, I agree. I like Minnesota. I think Breeze looked super, super shaky. So I think that's a big number. These are the dogs I've been feasting on all year on the bet side is the 6 to 6.5. Right now it's 7 one place, but it's 6.5 a bunch of places. If it stays below 7, I've been feasting on these dog money lines on these things. Just Minnesota money line, Minnesota +6.
And I know the big narrative in that game will be Minnesota is out of playoff contention, so this team doesn't want to win. But
Yeah.
I mean, that shit doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah,
it's still 7. I mean, I'm still seeing some 6.5 as well, but 7,
definitely get the
7's
7 if you can get the 7 for sure.
Yeah. And then some of the other games, I mean, I know, Big T's boy, Beth Goat's going to be going against the Cardinals. But I mean, look, that dude sucks. Like, I'm sorry. That dude,
Should I go get the jersey on?
That dude's terrible. I mean, if you think he's good, I mean, what's his win-loss
record against Arizona too? He's going to win all the money for me Saturday.
Tony, don't tell me you're going to play him in DFS because I might not watch the show.
Against Arizona? Are you kidding me?
You're going to play CJ Beathard, who's behind Nick
CJ
Mullins?
Pete Goat. I'm not going to play Beathard or whatever you guys are calling him.
I want to be clear. I did call him Beth Goat.
I will never call him Goat of any kind.
He's the man. He's going against Arizona. Like
I think his win-loss record as a starter is like 2-11, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
All serious. I'm only on drink number 1. I just got home. I'm being dead serious right now. He's going to win all the money on Saturday.
I mean, you could be right.
He's going against Arizona, who plays up and pace, no defense. He is going to eat on that slate. I'm just telling you right now.
And then, it's hard not to like at least the over for the first half in Tampa, Detroit. I mean, Detroit's first of all, just a complete disaster in the first halves of football games, giving up points. And Tampa's the same way. I mean, look what they did against Atlanta early on. They've done this all year in the first halves. It's so strange. Anyway, and Stafford's looked really good over the last 3 games. He's looked incredible, actually, if you really look at his numbers. And then the last game, it would be a slight lean in favor of the Raiders at 3. I know the line saw some significant movement. So that would be a slight
lean. Which way is this one moved?
Opens, so I think the look ahead line was like Rams 2.5. It actually ended up opening, I think, Miami -2. Now it's it opened Raiders -2. Look ahead was Raiders -2.5. The current line is Miami -3. So that's kind of swung through the 0.5 points into the 3. So just kind of a lot of crazy movement there. Makes sense though, to a certain extent.
Yeah. All right, boys. I think that was a nice quick breakdown of those early games.
Don't be getting off my San Francisco take.
Oh, God, I'm trying to hide the viewers from this.
San Francisco is going to win this game outright, too. Like, San Francisco is definitely beating Arizona this week. Mark it down. It's my lock of the week.
Definitely.
Huh?
I tell you what, you gotta love that line, though. Like, you want to talk about your quote-unquote trap line.
Oh, it's the trap game of the season. Like, San Francisco – like, I got goosebumps right now how happy I am to take San
you're
Francisco.
saying they're going to win, like outright.
Yeah.
You're not talking about covering or anything like that.
I mean, I'll bet both like I always do because I like going like 1 unit on each, but they're going to win. I don't need the point. Whoever calls the bookmaker after me, they can have the points.
If you told me what I thought the sign would be with Beth Goat starting, I would have figured Arizona 7. I mean, the fact that it's 5, is kind of wild. I'm sure it might get to 6.5, 7, but 5 is just wild to me.
There's no way it gets to 7. It's not. No way. Not against Beat Goat. I'm dead serious. Right. The funny part. I love San Francisco on Saturday. I can't wait.
All right, Tony's gonna.
Also, we got our boy in chat that always watches. West Coast Jim said, "Tell JJ we need more core plays from him. The people demand it." I mean that. We gave him a little taste on the bet show. What night was that, Double? Thursday? What day was it? Sunday? When was it?
I mean, look, I'll take my L's like anybody else. I mean, I had Goldman in the captain spot.
That's why they still wanted a little taste, though.
But this week he said just lock in Jonathan Taylor no matter what. That's from the words of Dunkel himself. He said it. And we're gonna get to that. But he did say lock in Jonathan Taylor and just figure everything else out. So I mean,
the same dude too was like last week. He's like, I can't believe you guys are putting defenses in your core plays. And I was laughing at our own content with this. I don't remember who did it. There was like 2 or 3 people, but I am going to put a note in our personal side here. We can't be putting defenses in core plays, JSU.
I mean, no, not unless it's like a 2 games. Even then,
no,
I
we're
wouldn't
not
do
talking
it.
2 gamers. We're talking the full
Who
game.
that? All right, seriously. If you are a coordinator at RPS and you put a goddamn defense in the playbook, I swear to I'll drive to your house and smack you. Like that is the stupidest thing I've
There was
ever
3
heard.
people that did it too.
Oh God! I
had,
apologize for them for whoever did it. You can name names too. Send me a DM. You can name names and I'll go at them. I promise you.
I had Graham Gano, I think, in there. Did he? That
was Showdown though.
You're talking
Showdown doesn't count.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
we're talking full slate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking. No, you can put them in the Showdown. That's fine. Full slate. You can't be putting a defense in your core plays.
No
lock
way.
in the Rams at home versus the Jets.
I hope whoever did this is going to watch this show just so they can be embarrassed and stuff like that. Like I pray, and then I pray I find out who it is just so I can yell at them again. So yeah, that's it. None of that crap. And please, if you're going to put a quarterback in your core, put a receiver in your core as well. You might as well pair them. Please, God, that's another thing that drives me insane. But we can talk about cores all we want. Let's get into the slate, though, guys. All right, Cleveland Browns, New York Jets. Browns here. Browns are the big favorites here. -9.5. Coming off that big Jets win. Dunkel, what do you think? Sammy Darnold, too?
Yeah, so it's funny, right? Because I would have definitely liked this game over. I don't know why they would have opened this at 45. I know a lot of books did. Now it's 47 and a half. The Jets have shown that they can score against especially bad defenses. And again, I'm not sold on Cleveland as being a good defense. I think that they caught a New York team that decided to just leave points on the board like 3 different times inside the 10-yard line. But this team gives up plays. But what I've really liked is how good this offensive line looks for Baker. He wasn't even touched last night. It was crazy. I mean, the Giants are a decent defense. He wasn't even touched. It was like he was playing 7-on-7 in that Sunday Night Football game. So interested to see if maybe you get a little regression. But Cleveland I'm sure they want to keep winning. Stefanski's done a tremendous job. He's got to be in routes for Coach of the Year, right? I mean, at least in the conversation. This team has really made a full turnaround. They basically have a very similar team that they had a year or 2 ago. But now they have 10 wins. So, credit to him, credit to that entire staff. This spot in particular, I don't know. I mean, the Jets you would think got the monkey off their back with the win, right? So, I mean, do they now want to keep winning? I don't know. I mean, they obviously blew their shot at Lawrence if he does come out this year. I can't imagine Jackson's going to want to win a game. But look, I think the Jets have shown that they can be at least somewhat potent against bad defenses. I'm not a fan of Cleveland's defense by any means. I think this is going to be a real problem for this team come the postseason. Cleveland's also had one of the easiest strength of schedules of any team in the NFL, which makes it another reason why once they get to the playoffs, this team could be a bit of an issue in terms of they're keeping up their consistency. Overall, real tough game to call. I would lean the over, but I don't necessarily love it. But it's really a tough game to call because I don't know what type of version of the Jets we're going to get. And I don't know from a motivational standpoint what type of version of the Browns we're going to get. So it's going to be a game I more than likely just avoid.
Yeah, I mean, poor Jets, right? And Jets fans, the Jets players, they lose all these games. They finally win one, and all their fans hate them. It's kind of funny how things work with the Jets. Poor organization right there. Feel for them a little bit and the players because they did play hard and win that game out, but just can't see them here getting it done against Cleveland. I think Cleveland's a very, very good team who doesn't get enough credit. Like you said, Stefanski, I think he's done more with less than anyone, and he deserves the Coach of the Year. to be honest with you, the way he's playing right now. Tony, what do you think about Cleveland and the Jets?
Yeah, I mean DFS wise, I'm probably off. I've been on Chubb like the whole year with you. The Jets have been quietly better against the run, though. I'm not saying they're like the steel curtain or anything, but 7,800. Every week we say it that they're a little bit better than people think. They are a little bit better. They're not an 0. We talked about this on the Sunday Bet Show. Like they're not an 0-16 team. They're like a 4-12 team. They're a lot better than the 0 for record. I mean, again, they're not good. I'm not saying that, but they're better than people think. I wouldn't be surprised if they win another game the next two. I don't even know who they play next week, but I wouldn't be stunned if they win another game by any means. So, but I mean, play-wise, I'm definitely not playing any Jets. And I mean, I don't think I can play any Cleveland guys either. If it was anybody, it would be Landry, but I don't need him by any means.
Yeah, I definitely would like Landry. Problem is he's 6,900. He's starting to tick up there.
That's a lucky number, though. That's a buy point.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. I think when we get to the Rams game, there are some guys below him that might get a little more popular. So, I mean, he's going to have no ownership, but is a great matchup for someone like Jarvis Landry who could smash. And then running back is, I don't know, Nick Chubb's the highest priced running back, like probably one of the better, he's definitely the most talented running back in my opinion on the slate. Problem is I just don't know with Kareem Hunt mixing in, this game might get away from them. I'm probably not on Chubb, but who knows? I mean, that might change a little, but I just don't like this game in general. So I'm probably going to stay off. The Jets to me are a no-go. Anyone on the team is just no-go to me. So let's move on. We got the Atlanta Falcons and the Chiefs. Chiefs are the favorites minus 10.5. 54 is the total. Dunkel, what do you think here?
Yeah, so there is one team in the NFL that has not covered a spread in the last 6 weeks, and that team is the Kansas City Chiefs. It's like we say all the time, though, with this team. They just kind of coast through games. I don't think they care enough. I mean, obviously teams don't care to cover spreads, but the Chiefs are 6-0 their last 6 games, 0-5-1 against the number. This is just a tough team to want to bet week in and week out. I'm sure they'll cover a spread at some point, whether it's, the next few weeks or the playoffs, whatever. But from a motivational standpoint, this team is clearly just okay to coast. And I'm wondering, once they get into the playoffs and they play like a really good team, if they go down behind, I'm wondering how this all plays out. The Chiefs are the obvious favorite now to win the Super Bowl. They've been, and they're the favorite to make the Super Bowl from the AFC. But man, this coasting just feels like a problem that'll surface itself, especially in the playoffs this year. This spot here, big number though, right? Against Atlanta. Matt Ryan looked decent last week, especially early, but late was my issue. It's like, I don't know if it was play calling or, I mean, I don't even know what to say to it. What's the status on Julio? Is he still out? JSU, as far as you know, Julio Jones?
I don't think he's going to play again this year, is my opinion.
Okay, so if he doesn't play, I mean, Matt Ryan finally looked a little better this week, but this week without him. But, again, how could you feel comfortable laying this number with Kansas City? I mean, they could very well cover. To me, Kansas City is a team I basically scratch off every week. I don't want to bet any of their games. I don't want to bet the opposing team. I don't want to bet them. I don't want to bet totals. Because, again, if Kansas City is going to give up points to their opponent, and not give a shit in that aspect, then Kansas City's going to score more points themselves and the game will go over. If Kansas City's defense is going to show up motivated, the game's probably easily going to go under. And then as far as the spreads go, again, the same thing. If Kansas City goes down, they're going to do what they can to come back, and then that's it. Do they have any motivation to win this game by 2 scores? No. I mean, they've shown that they don't have that motivation. They just want to win games and do what they have to in that matter. Nothing more, nothing less. So moving forward, at least until playoffs, I'm going to be definitely avoiding all KC games, as I've done for the last 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah, Tony, we got to talk from a DFS side because Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who would probably be pretty popular, honestly, in this matchup, or a good play, at least in my opinion, is probably going to be out. He's listed as, I think, doubtful right now. He didn't practice today. If he doesn't play, Lev Bell might be kind of popular. We've already seen one game where Clyde Edwards-Helaire played, but he didn't really actually get in the game. He was like pretty much like a backup in case of emergency play. And Lev Bell got most of the work. What do you think about Le'Veon Bell and the rest of this game?
Yeah. So the last time it happened, I was on the Edwards-Helaire train, and it didn't feel good. The thing about Lev is he's actually looked somewhat better lately. Like he hasn't looked amazing or anything, but he's looked better than I thought he would. The issue is I don't ever see him as an upside guy really these days. I mean, he's going to need to run very pure. He's going to need a penalty in the end zone. He's going to need to fall down at the one. He's going to need some luck to go his way. He's not going to get there by breaking 20-yard touchdowns and stuff like that. They're not going to give him like 25 carries ever. He's one of those plays that, like, if I had the perfect team, I would be fine playing him, I guess, is like a filler type dude. But by no means am I forcing him in. And the Chiefs are the hardest team, honestly, like, especially on this slate, because a lot of the powerhouse offenses are not on it. I just don't want to roster them against Atlanta. We don't know their motivation. Like, they're going to be the 1 seed for sure. They don't want to get hurt. Sure, if this game stays close, they could easily go off and break the slate. But you're paying $8,500 for Kelsey, $9K for Tyreek, $8,500 for Mahomes. I just can't do it. So I'm going to fade. And if they crush me, I mean, they crush me. So and as far as betting, I agree with Dunkel. Like, I don't want to bet the Chiefs, but I definitely don't want to bet the Falcons. So I just wish this game was kind of off the board.
Yeah, what stinks, I agree with you kind of on Bell, where it's just like, I don't think I'm forcing him in my teams. Like, he's fine. He's not like super cheap either, at least on DraftKings. My one thing is I think Pat Mahomes also just tears Atlanta apart early. Like, he could easily just have one of those games where the first half ends and they're up 28 to 7, or, you know, I mean, something like that, where he's already thrown for like 4 touchdowns and like 250 yards. Like, this could easily be the game. Tyreek Hill didn't practice on Wednesday due to a hamstring issue. If Tyreek Hill were to be out, now this makes Pat Mahomes a lot more appealing from a stacking standpoint.
Appealing, like tons more appealing. Because then you can just play Kelsey and play Hardman. Like, you just load it up. Hardman's 3,100. Like, if Tyreek is out, Hardman becomes maybe like the easiest play of the season.
I also think you could play guys like DeMarcus Robinson, because Hardman wouldn't affect Robinson. Robinson plays outside. They want Hardman. The reason why Hardman doesn't see as many snaps is because Tyreek Hill's in the game most. And it's tough to run them together because they do the same things. They're like the same exact player, just Tyreek Hill is better. But they're the same type of player. So
he was close to a monster game last week. He missed 2 like deep balls that could have been touchdowns.
And that catch he made in the end zone was sick, by the way. Yeah. It was a sick throw and a sick concentration catch he made. Really good throw though. But yeah, I mean, this would become a lot easier from a stacking perspective if Tyreek Hill were out. I would probably play Pat Mahomes. He might be my only quarterback if that were to happen. Like, if Tyreek Hill were to be out, I might just play Pat Mahomes and play all these cheap guys plus Travis Kelsey and just move on. You know, I don't know. From the Atlanta side, Calvin Ridley's looked really good. Russell Gage is still cheap. You have to they're gonna be down. They're gonna be throwing the football. Like, there's no way around that. So if I end up stacking Mahomes, I will bring it back with probably Russell Gage, just because he's so much cheaper. But if I had the money, I have no problem with Ridley. Tony, you fine with that?
If I play Chiefs guys, yeah, I would definitely run it back with someone, because you need you need the Falcons to score points if you want the Chiefs to be upside.
Right, exactly. All right, cool. Let's get to the next game here. We got the New York Giants and the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens are the big favorites here, -11. 45 is the total. Dunkel, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I think we still have some undecided news on the Giants quarterback. I guess we could assume it's not going to be Daniel Jones, but I'm sure that news will surface officially over the next few days. Regardless, though, it's tough not to like the under in this game, right? So it's 45, and we know Baltimore is not like an excellent defense. They've definitely regressed a bit, especially over the last few weeks. But the Giants are by no means like a great offense. So, I mean, Baltimore should be able to neutralize them. And look, the Giants have been a good, specifically bend, not break defense. This, I could be mistaken. I think this is like the best red zone defense in the NFL, or they're definitely at minimum top 3 red zone defense in the NFL. Now, those numbers might have been a bit skewed with this last week performance against Cleveland, because I know that they gave up a few red zone touchdowns. But in terms of scoring average, teams that make the red zone, the Giants are the best defense in the NFL. And look, Baltimore, I've said this before, like this offense is starting to finally get going. We kind of know what they are, right? This, the read options with Lamar, but Lamar's been playing well. The run game's been working well. And of course that'll help the play action. It just makes sense that this is a total that is probably a point or two too high, especially with two teams that are going to want to run the ball. Baltimore's definitely going to run the ball. And the Giants should be able to stop them, should be able to force a few third and longs, which Baltimore is very poor at converting. Overall, total 45. Not sure who we're going to get for the Giants at their starting quarterback position, but like a strong lean on under 45.
Yeah, the Giants, to me, we talk about it a bunch on this show. I think their defense is underrated. I think their team is somewhat underrated. Problem is their quarterback, whoever it is just not very good. Both aren't very good. But I think the players around them are pretty decent, and that defense is pretty solid to me. So this is a game, like, from a DFS side, I don't really want any part of. Tony, what about you?
Yeah, this game looks like a super easy fade for me. There's really nothing that could even happen that would get me on this game. I just don't like it, so I'll save us the time.
Beautiful. I love it. Let's move on. Chicago Bears and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bears are the favorites here. -7 is the line. What we get? 47 is the total. Dunkel.
So the classic narrative for this game, right? If Jacksonville just loses out, they will not get Trevor Lawrence. And I mean, they will be able to get Trevor Lawrence and the Jets won't. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that have that mindset. This will probably be the most popular teaser on the day where people tease Chicago down. But I mean, you want to talk about a line that's seeing some severe, I don't want to call it overreaction specifically, because it's tough to say, right? Because the Bears are kind of a tale of two seasons. I mean, Mitch Trubisky, I don't believe, has lost a game that he's started for the Bears this year. And look, I mean, the offense looks rejuvenated with him. I mean, Montgomery looks great. The offensive line looks great. All of a sudden, Matt Nagy looks like a genius running the show. Their defense, I don't want to say their defense is good. Their defense is definitely regressed, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But look, this could be another spot where you potentially target a Jacksonville over. Jacksonville has been live with a bunch of overs recently. And like I said, I've really liked what I've seen from Chicago's offense. The only thing that worries me is now you're at a true overreaction point. So now you're at the point where you are really buying really high on this Chicago Bear stock. And it's just not something that's profitable in the NFL when you're buying on teams at this point in the season. But again, is there probably a safer teaser on the board? Probably not, as far as the percentage. I mean, Chicago, it'd be tough to imagine Chicago losing this game, all things considered. Jacksonville, can't imagine they want to win the games right now. But with that said, I'm not going to be laying this amount of points. I would definitely, especially at 47, my lean would be the over on this number, specifically because, again, I liked what I've seen from Chicago's offense. They've shown a lot of consistency, a lot of rhythm. Mitch Trubisky's been great moving around the pocket and finding guys downfield. And, of course, the run game's been excellent. And Jacksonville has proven to have at least somewhat of a live offense. I know that they didn't close out a few drives late against Baltimore, but that game still ended up going over because basically Baltimore almost went over by themselves. Needless to say, I like this over 47.
Tony, Dunkel likes it over. What do you think?
Yeah, so I hate disagreeing with my man Dunkel because he picks winners. I do agree. I'll start with that. I do agree with it looks super easy and trappy type with the number. But, man, Jacksonville is not winning this football game. If they win this game after the Jets won, like I would be speechless because they just fell into Trevor Lawrence. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up sitting people. I know there was talk of James Robinson sitting all week, but then he wants to play on Sunday. I could see them being like, dude, just you're taking the week off, whatever needs to happen. There's just no way they can beat this football team. So the teasers, we always talk about how they've been profitable all year. This is another case of just put them in your teasers. I can't see them losing outright. Even if Jacksonville somehow backdoors them and covers or something, they're not going to win outright. So just put the Bears in there. I don't like the over because I don't think Jacksonville's going to score points. I just don't see it. They had some issues with offense last week. Finally, what did they score last week? They scored how many points? They weren't scoring the whole game.
14
points. The Bears need a win on top of it for the playoffs. The scary part is, like Dunkel said, I'm always aware of this stuff with the trappy lines, and I probably believe it more than Dunkel even. Sometimes I feel like it's just a fisherman out there, like throw the bait out for people. God, it looks easy to take the Bears, but I'm falling for it. I usually am on the sharp side and not the square side, but in this case, I'm signing up for the square side. I can't see Jacksonville contending in this game. I think they cover the teasers. I think they blow them out. And Montgomery, DFS-wise, I don't know how you don't play David Montgomery. I don't know how I got on the wagon. I've always hated Montgomery, but, man, he just keeps crushing. Eventually, you just got to be like, okay, I mean, maybe he's better than I thought he was, and jump on the wagon a little bit. The dude keeps crushing, and now he gets Jacksonville, who wants to lose. How do I fade that, JSU?
I mean, he faded because he's 7,800, 7,700? Like, that's just such a tough price tag to swallow. I know he's been crushing. He gets a good matchup.
I mean, he's had 25 plus 4 straight weeks.
What's worrisome to me is what you said. See, in this spot, I almost always just – it's an easy – I just would fade this spot every time. And like 7,700 for a guy who I know is not good. Like, I'm not overreacting to a couple of good straight weeks because I saw the first, 10 weeks of bad David Montgomery. But what scares the hell out of me is what you said. Jacksonville doesn't want to win. They want to lose.
No, they are gonna lose.
No, I know they're gonna lose. I understand that. They don't want to win. They're not gonna win, but they don't want to win anyways. They want to sit guys.
I wouldn't be surprised if they sit a bunch of guys. Literally just make it obvious and just sit whoever they can.
Yeah, and I'm with that. I believe that could actually happen. And so this just really scares me. I don't know, David Montgomery. I think with the running backs we have in this top 7K range, he's probably one or two. I might put Miles Sanders ahead of him at 7K, but either way, he's in the conversation. Anyone else, the only other guy I'm looking at is Allen Robinson. Maybe I'll play the Bears defense too, but that's pretty much it. There's not a ton of plays here, Tony.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if I wasn't playing Montgomery, I would for sure play some of the passing game. Mooney has looked better lately. If you click on his box scores, you might not see it. 16 and 10, not a ton of targets. But to me, it feels like he's got more red zone looks. He's got more looks, more value looks, where if he catches it, he's going to house. If he catches a deep ball, he's going to score. I don't mind the passing game, but I would pick a side. I mean, if you didn't play Montgomery and you think Jacksonville could score somehow, you could play Anthony Miller at 3.2, Mooney 4K, Robinson is expensive. Even Cole Kmet is 3K again. There's cheap options on this offense to play if you don't want to play Montgomery.
Yeah. For me personally, I just think it's the two studs and walk away. But that's, the Cole Kmet I get at tight end. He's cheap. But that's about it. Let's move on. We got the Indianapolis Colts, Pittsburgh Steelers. Colts are favorites here, -1.5. Steelers, Coming off a few disappointing weeks, right? 44.5 is the total. Dunkel, what are we doing here with the Steelers? Is it a bounce back spot?
You gotta segue in better than that. Get him a Jonathan Taylor cue on the tee. Don't start with Steelers.
I got sad when I read the Steelers, honestly, because of how that game went a couple days ago with the Bengals. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still sad about it.
They lost to the Bengals.
Oh God. I was just so wrong. If you could be any more wrong about a slate, I was definitely wrong about that slate.
What do you mean?
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. Dunkel, what do you think? Talk about this game and then talk about Jonathan Taylor a little bit. You might as well.
So Taylor, I would say, regressed a little last week. I don't think. I mean, not to say he didn't look bad, but he didn't look as gaudy. And his numbers weren't as good as they've been the last few weeks. And again, the matchup was still pretty juicy. Now, this is by no means a good matchup for Jonathan Taylor. But what I will say is that Cincinnati pushed this defensive line back like all game long. I mean, if Gio Bernard can carve this team up, and I want to be clear, like it wasn't Gio Bernard. The holes Gio was running through were massive. Like they were like easy 7-8 yard runs. He wasn't being touched until he was about 6-7 yards into the pile. So Pittsburgh, it's very strange what's happening with this team. It's almost like the entire team is just fatigued every week. And it's very strange. But look, Tomlin's a good coach. I think from a play calling perspective, he's definitely, you have to start doubting what's been happening.
Are we sure he's a good coach though?
I mean, he's been a good coach. Like, I mean, this year in particular, the play calling's been sketchy. Like, and this is what I say all the time. Like, sometimes you can hide coaches' flaws behind good coordinators. Like, I felt Todd Haley was a really good coordinator here in Pittsburgh. The problem with Todd Haley is his MO is he runs himself out of every job because he can't stop running his mouth. But when Haley was underneath him, I mean, that offense just kind of flowed. Now, sure, they had Brown, they had Bell, but wherever Todd Haley goes, offenses put up points. They've kind of changed coordinators since. They've obviously lost some talent. But needless to say, like, the idea of this play call, here's the thing. This offensive line is super old, like all of them, okay? I think that's a big reason why they do a lot of these quick passes. I think that they try to hide how bad this offensive line is. The problem is that now teams don't even respect Ben's deep ball anymore because he throws all these 3 to 5 yard passes. Their run game is terrible, which again, I think attributes more to the poor offensive line. This game here in particular, though, you would expect Taylor to struggle just because most running backs do against this Pittsburgh front. But look, when I know a line, especially an opener, opens like 3.5, or an early look ahead, and then it actually opens 3, and then the market just doesn't trust Pittsburgh anymore, so they swing this through the 0 to 1.5. These are the type of lines you want to target and you want to tease. So Pittsburgh is a really good team to tease in this spot. And the main reason being that the look ahead line's 3, which means if you teased it at that point, you would have been teasing it to about 3.5, 4 on Pittsburgh's side. Because the market moves this line 4.5, 5 points to now Pittsburgh plus 1.5, you can actually take a line that opened Pittsburgh minus 3 all the way to Pittsburgh plus 7.5 for the same price that it would have been had Pittsburgh not lost the Cincinnati game. Because do realize if Pittsburgh pulls that win out, this line's not what it is. The problem is this team looks in shambles. The market's kind of feeling it. The market's lost a lot of money betting this team, which is why you're getting this line swing. And I think this is now the right time to tease this game, tease this spot. So this will be a popular teaser for me, a game I'm going to want to combine with another. It won't be Jacksonville or Cleveland because I don't like teasing those types of games. But yes, definite big teaser spot for me with Pittsburgh.
Tony, Pittsburgh here. What do you think?
I'm watching Tatum stick a 3 right in Giannis's grill for the win is what I'm doing. Right in his grill. Get that, Giannis.
Tatum
I agree with Dunkel. Like this game, this is why I love the teasers. This is why I'm so set on them in NFL. I just feel like the edge is freaking massive when you can give me the Steelers plus 7.5 or 8 at home against the Colts. And just say that I wasn't super confident about like them winning the game. I could take the Colts on the money line still. Have the Colts on the money line minus 120. I can put Pittsburgh in all my teasers. You got just such a nice hedge there that the Colts win between 1 and 7. I don't know what it is with teasers, but it's like the only thing that I'm safe with in gambling. Like I like to gamble on a lot of stuff. These teasers are just money makers, and I know people make fun of me about them, but I believe it. Like you're gonna make money on them, and I'm just gonna keep doing them. And if people laugh, they laugh, but our people are gonna make money taking them. And the Colts shouldn't be favored by 1.5, just like the uncle said. I do think the Colts probably win because Pittsburgh's kind of figured out. Unless Pittsburgh just changes their game plan, which they need to do, because the code has been cracked on their offense where they're getting rid of the ball so quick. They need to change something up, which I think is in the cards, though. I think they could shift something up and really change their game plan in one way or another. But, yeah, Pittsburgh and the teasers. And to be honest, I kind of like the Pittsburgh passing game here again, fantasy-wise, because the Colts D is overrated to me. We talked about it last week versus Houston. Houston had a lot of yards with no receivers. I mean, Deshaun Watson went off, but that's throwing to no one. Big Ben has all kinds of receivers. No one's going to be on this spot. I think you can get in a little shootout spot here and just don't let me play Michael Pittman. That's all I ask. He's looking at me right now on the sheet. I don't want to play him. God, don't do it, Michael Pittman. But I like the Pittsburgh passing game. I don't know who I want to play from Indy is the hard part. Maybe T.Y. Hilton. I mean, maybe freaking Pittman, just not in the core play. Maybe just on one team.
No, you said no. No, we're not.
You hurt my feelings
either
last
of us doing
week.
it.
But
we're not letting either of us do it.
Deontay Johnson's like maybe my favorite play of the week. I love him, and I think Pittsburgh scores some points. Love him in teasers. Sign me up.
Yeah, I don't mind that call with Pittsburgh, the receiving options. Mainly, when we say the receiving options, I think we just mean not options. Deontay Johnson is the receiver that we're looking at here. Everyone else, I'm not really that high on. I think they just take away from each other. I think Deontay's the clear guy. Other than that, nope, there's just not a clear guy, so I'm just going to stay away from everyone else. From the Colts side, nothing on Jonathan Taylor, Tony. Are you on Jonathan Taylor? I don't think I'm going to be this week. What about you?
I just don't. I have some rules, and I just don't play running backs against Pittsburgh, whether it's right or wrong. 7,300, just can't do it. I'm not going to do it. They don't ever get gashed on the ground. I think they've given up 100-yard rusher in like 3 seasons or something crazy. It's probably not the exact stat, but the point being they don't get carved up on the ground. I can't do it.
The thing is, though, that they have given up fantasy points to running back this year. Look at Gio just a couple nights ago. They have given up some decent games to running backs, but it's not a spot that I still think we don't want to pick on here for sure. So I'm probably off to the Colts side. To me, I just hate that they have like so many options at every spot. They've got 3 running backs, 3 different receivers, 3 different tight ends. Like it just drives me 2 quarterbacks sometimes. Like it just drives me insane. So no Colts for me. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals and the Houston Texans.
The end of this game, like we got to talk about this for a minute, just because we do what we want on this show. The end of this game.
You have to be specific if you're going to talk about and just say the end of this game.
Tatum sticking a 3 right in Giannis's eye, and Giannis airballing after that. Like, it's just. We pick up right where we left off.
Did you get wood?
I had it the whole time, so it didn't rise. It was just there. It was just there.
Oh, God. The things that Tony loves to see. Giannis airball is 1, and then Giannis losing has to be 2. It's got to be 1, 2.
Feels good. Because I have like 15 tweets coming my way every time. All the Kenny Powers gifts are coming on my timeline. Everyone's making fun of Giannis. It's great stuff.
I have a question. So, like, Tony, a lot of people were talking about Jason Tatum and Giannis. And I was in the camp, this was a couple of years ago. Jason Tatum, to me, was one of those players that I don't know if I would trade just about anyone in the league for. I'm assuming you were on that side too, correct?
Yeah, Tatum is one of those guys that you're not going to trade anyone for that would trade you. Like, obviously, if I could like trade for LeBron or something, I would do it. But anyone that you could trade him for, you're not going to trade him. And I just, that's how I feel about it. Because the only guys that you would trade for him, you're not going to get. That's just how it is. Like the guys like Kawhi, and I might even
KD.
Yeah, AD, KD, LeBron, like all the just monsters are the only ones that you would trade him for. And they're not giving up those guys. So, but Tatum,
I would take him over.
They're not giving Tatum up.
I would take him over Kawhi.
Yeah, like I might too. Like neither team would trade their guy anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like that's the point. Like if you got that guy, that's the guy you don't trade no matter what.
Yep. And he's got big shot. He always take that last shot. You'll never be able to trust Giannis with the ball in his hands at the end of the game. It just never will.
I mean, he just threw up the biggest brick of all time to send it to overtime. Like, it's just so good. Like, it's just poetry in motion.
Tony's feeling himself right now. All right, let's get back to these Bengals and these Texans. Dunkel, let's bring it back to you. 8.5 is the line. Houston's favored. 46 is the total.
Yeah, it's so this is an interesting game, right? I think what do you make of the Cincinnati start with Finley, right? Was it a flash in the pan? Was Pittsburgh just caught with their pants down? Houston definitely does not have a good defense, but can you really get another scoring week from Houston? From Cincinnati. Houston's offense has been good. I think Cincinnati's defense is another one of those teams where, from an underrated standpoint, this defense is pretty good from a yards per play perspective, from a points per play perspective. This team's not bad. I think people assume, Cincinnati's just an awful team on all fronts. The defense is actually better than people think, and it was no surprise that they slowed down Pittsburgh. I think the surprise was that they basically shut down Pittsburgh. But overall, this is a real tough game for me to figure out. And one, I'm going to actually be completely off. The total is probably right about where it should be. You can make an argument that the over makes sense at this number or the under. The only reason I would slightly lean over is primarily because if we get the same level of Ryan Finley, like he'll be able to move the ball against this Houston team. And Houston, what do they do well? The only thing they do well is move the football and score points. So yeah, at a total of 46, I mean, 46 total for Houston is just super low. So again, I would lean over, but again, I just don't know the type of what we're going to get from Cincinnati. And then as far as the spread, I can't lay 8 points with Houston. That's for sure. But again, Cincinnati's, what do? They celebrate a bunch after the win, and then they just come and let you down here. It's probably something that happens. So either way, very, very light lean would be over, but other than that, it'll be a pass for
me. Yeah, I mean, this to me is either a pass or you're taking the points with Cincinnati. But I don't know how you really trust either side. Tony, what do you think?
Man, so this is when push comes to shove for me, because I have been picking on Houston all year, literally from week one. This defense might be the worst in football. They can't stop anybody. But now we get the Bengals with Ryan Finley and the offense that just isn't great. So it's push comes to shove. In a Millie Maker type format, God, these are the plays JSU always makes fun of me for too, because they just don't have enough upside. But like Ryan Finley's 4,800 and T. Higgins is 4,700. And if Tyler Boyd sits, he's 4,900 if he plays. But if he sits, AJ Green's 3,400. The all dusty team, like you're gonna hate yourself for doing this. But Brandon Cooks is 6,200. Like, if you stack this game with 2 or 3 guys, you can play whoever you want on this slate. And if this game shoots out, you're going to have a chance to win all the tournaments. And, I mean, JSU always makes fun of me, so I'm sure he will. But, man, it looks good against Houston. I'll say that. If you get that same effort from Finley he had on Monday night where he's running bootlegs, scrambling, making some plays. I mean, the dude is 4,800 against Houston. Inside, you got good weather, which is important these days because it's going to be cold a lot of places this week. I don't know. It's not the worst play ever. I'll say that. So now go ahead and make fun of me, JSU.
You had me until AJ Green. I know you just just shoved me off mute or whatever, but God, you had me until AJ Green. Oh God, just so dusty. I can't do it. T. Higgins, Give me some T. Higgins. I'll take a little T. Higgins.
Well, T. Higgins, like, okay, so let me circle back before you go. Say you hate what I just said. T. Higgins is a freaking phenomenal +1 play this week. Like, he is going to crush at 4,700 if you don't want the whole stack. He is just way too cheap.
How is he not locked? I mean, JSU, you're both big tournament players. I mean, how much exposure you're going to have? You got to have decent exposure there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first guy that jumped off the page to me when I looked at this game. I was just like, T. Higgins, 4,700. Are we serious? Like, that's just way too cheap.
We talked about this last week. They're literally bringing dudes out of the stands to play cornerback.
They were running the football so much because they had a double-digit lead the entire game. They're not going to have another double-digit lead back-to-back weeks. Like, they're going to have to throw. And when he was throwing, he was looking Higgins' way a lot. I mean, yeah, to me, it's lock and load.
And if they, so let me circle back again, because this is how my mind works in tournaments. Last week I was on Rivers all week, got on Watson at the last second because some value opened up. Why can't I play Watson and Cooks and run it back with T. Higgins and get, if the Bengals score, like, you could fall into just a monster game here, because if the Bengals can keep pace, this game's going to shoot out. Like, it's going to, because Houston's going to score.
This is a sneaky, try to pick one game a week. This is a sneaky over spot.
You liked the over originally too, right? When you were talking about it?
It would have been a slight lean. Yeah. It's just a sneaky spot for points. Again, if you get even close to a potent Cincinnati like you got against Pittsburgh, Houston's going to score. So, I mean, if they're forced to score more because Cincinnati's scoring, I mean, this game could definitely shoot out. With a bunch
the scariest part is, though, it's still Ryan Finley, so it could totally blow up in our face. But I like it.
It's not 100% that it's Finley yet, though.
Who else could it even be?
Well, it doesn't look like it's officially decided.
Yeah, because Brandon Allen was limited in participation in practice. So if he were to be available,
there's no way they're putting him back in over Finley after Finley beat Pittsburgh.
I'm just like giving you the news.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that's just my opinion, though. Like, no way they pull Finley.
Yeah, unless they don't want to win. I mean, like, the dude won a game.
But they already got their quarterback. Like, they don't care as much about the draft picks as other teams will.
No, I know what I'm just saying. He won a game. Like, how do they not go to him?
The script against Pittsburgh worked to their favor. Allen's a better thrower of the football.
So you're a better thrower.
Like,
he is terrible.
Yeah, you don't know that, Tony.
I know that for sure.
I mean, I didn't think I'd hit the air ducts, Tony, and then that happened.
That was all for show,
I mean, you just never know.
What I can't believe is Tony brought up an all dusty team and didn't add his boy David Johnson to it.
Playing David Johnson,
who caught 11 of 11 targets for 106 yards last week.
Not playing.
Tony, I thought this was going to be for sure someone you were going to play this week. I am beyond shocked.
No, he sucks.
Yes, he does.
If it was like a game stack or something, I wouldn't think it's the worst play in the world, but I'm not playing him as a +1.
What about like Brandon Cooks in a bounce back? Any love for Cooks or?
Yeah, I mean in a game stack, but I'm not playing him by itself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For me, I agree with Tony. I think T. Higgins is a really, really strong play this week for tournaments. AJ Green, I'm probably not going to have any of. I just prefer T. Higgins. I'll find the extra third. T. Higgins is still cheap enough for me, so I'll take T. Higgins here. But outside of that, I mean, it's not much else. I think in this game. So let's move it on. We've got the Denver Broncos in the LA Chargers. Chargers are the favorites here. -3 is the line. 49 is the total. Dunkel, Anthony Lynn, can he do it against Vic Fangio? Because I think Vic Fangio ends up beating him in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, two teams that struggle to close out games late. I mean, I know that we talk about Anthony Lynn, and here's the biggest issue if you're a Chargers fan. Like, because Anthony Lynn won that game against the Raiders, and maybe he wins one of his next two games here. They
don't even say it, Dunkel. Don't say it. No.
They might not fire him.
No, don't do
it. Look, I mean, the dude pretty clearly needs to be.
If they keep his job, like, Oh man, please no.
Please no. Yeah, but look, I'll tell you this. I like when I can get Denver at a field goal plus a field goal. It looks like 3.5 maybe might pop. What is there to trust about this Chargers team? Like I don't trust their defense. I don't trust their consistency on offense. I like Denver's defense more than the Chargers. Yeah, I mean, for me, 3.5, a strong lean for me in favor of Denver. There's nothing about the Chargers that I trust. Now, granted, Vic Fangio is another one that even when he gets a big lead, it's tough to love the number. But yeah, I mean, I liked playing Denver a few weeks back in a similar spot where they were getting points. I like them again here. I'm gonna like them again here. And I get why people are backing the Chargers. They looked good in prime time. They have the few extra days to prep. But needless to say, they have no business being a 3.5 point favorite over almost. I mean, any team not named the Bengals, Jets, Jaguars. So would really like this spot for Denver. A little bounce back spot too. They look terrible against Buffalo. I would be interested in what some of those guys in the secondary though look like injury wise, because you could tell Buffalo just exploited that secondary like crazy. And Denver was dealing with a lot of injuries. Maybe they get some of these guys back. That'll be a big part of my handicap if I actually end up firing on Denver. But all in all, from a surface level, the number 3.5 looks strong in favor of Denver.
I agree. I think it is strong. I like Denver in this spot. Tony, what about you?
I love it. I like it way more when I agree with Dunkel on these bet sides because, I mean, Denver has quietly been a very good team, like cover-wise this year. Sure, they've had some stinkers in there where they've had some things not go their way, but I always feel confident with a team like the Broncos, who have been competitive a lot, over an Anthony Lynn-led team, off a big win, too, in division. I love the Broncos this week. And if it somehow sneaks below the 3, it'll be a teaser game, too. I don't want to tease it at 3, but if it does sneak to 2.5 somehow, and on top of it, like if it goes to 2.5, you get a little bit of a reverse line move feel, too, because the public's going to be on the Chargers for sure. So I never mind those. If the public's one way, the line goes the other, and then I can tease it up on top of it. I love those. So I am more than good with that. Fantasy-wise, though, is where I don't know how much I like. Last week, man, it hurt my feelings with our the Chargers have hurt my feelings a lot lately. I just don't think I can play them against Denver. And the Broncos are where it gets interesting for me because these freaking receivers – Jerry Jeudy 3,700 has sucked. Just killed me so many weeks. KJ Hamler 3,200 had the one big game. These guys are so cheap, but the problem is there's not that many studs on this slate unless you're playing like the Chiefs guys and some of the spots like that. You don't necessarily need the cheap guys. So I might be off this game for the most part, but I do like the prices if you need it.
Yeah, I think that this game to me is kind of a stay away. Melvin Gordon has been playing pretty solid last couple of weeks. Pretty consistent too, honestly. But outside of like a filler, I don't really love either of these teams. This slate, honestly, in general, to me, there's really only a few games that like I really want to be fully invested in, like from a stacking standpoint. This is another game where I think you could pick a play. Like Austin Eckler is fine, like for this slate, the way he plays, where he can get there, with the pass catching and he gets carries. But other than those two, really, the running backs, I'm probably off this game. Tony, anything else here?
No, I'm tilted because they just text me or they just sent a message and the college said almost. That's not good if they say almost. I must not have got first in that big contest. I must have not somehow got nipped.
That's the worst when someone else just tells you that.
And they say almost, so you knew you were like right there and you weren't even paying attention.
Yep.
And
that is definitely the worst.
The 222, she said.
Oh God. Yeah. I remember when I almost entered all these contests and I didn't. Yep. But I think that's about it. Let's move on. Oh, friggin', by the way, Tony, before we even get anywhere else, Can we just talk about how right I was about Ja friggin' God Morant? Did you see what he did tonight?
I mean, I talked it up on the show. What more do you want? I said JSU liked him. I choked your chain a little bit. I went down.
Can I tell you what he
did? What
did?
do you want? Do you want like?
Can I tell you what he did?
Directions?
Can I tell you what he did tonight?
I mean, I saw him going off. What did he finish with?
He finished with a measly 44 points, 2 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, and a block. I mean,
that's it.
That's it. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's what you get when you're here. I mean, God, like he was such a good play.
The NBA stuff is gonna be. I've talked it up. Like so, everyone that's listening to this show, obviously, this is premium, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone that's listening to it is a member already. But I said it on the show. Like we're gonna do the show 2 hours before lock. You get the best cash player in the world, Hoop, one of them, top 3 cash player for sure in the world. And then up to lock, you get JSU, who's a top 5 tournament player in the world. You get both sides of it back to back, and I'll give some takes mixed in the middle. I'll do my best to live up to the legends, but you get it. You get all the good stuff, and you get good info in the chat. It's just good. We're gonna crush NBA. No.
So
question.
let me just tell you what Tony did right there. He did the classic thing where he leaves himself out of the talk.
The truth.
And pumps up everyone else. Tony is like this show. All right. It's like how he's third to dunk. Like he is number 6 probably. If I'm 5, he's 6 in the best tournament players in the world.
No.
The difference with Tony is that here's the difference. Tony plays every friggin' sport. That's the difference. Tony's better than me in all these other friggin' sports that I don't play. MMA, soccer, college football, college basketball, friggin' NASCAR, like anything. Doesn't even matter. He's better than me at all of those things. But he won't tell you that. He'll just be like, oh, yeah, JSU, he's a really good tournament player. Hoop, he's the #1 cash player.
It's the truth.
I think what Tony needs is a chain, like one of these. we get Tony a chain. He'll get more industry respect. I think that's really what it comes down to.
That's it. I'm buying Tony a chain. Merry Christmas, motherfucker. I'm buying your ass a chain. It's coming to your house. I'm gonna order it tonight. It's coming to your house this week. Can't wait.
We'll go to the Diamond District with cash, and we'll get you a nice thing right around the neck.
That's so funny.
It should say Wayne. Just straight Wayne.
I like that.
Anthony Wayne's too long. It should
in gold letters.
Wayne.
Just Wayne.
Yeah, just Wayne. Oh God. All right. It's just so many good things here. So let's move on. We got the Carolina Panthers and the Washington. No, not going to say it. The Washington team. 2.5 is the spread. Washington is favored here. 44.5 is the total. Dunkel, do we like this Washington team, or is the Panthers a sneaky little play here?
Some interesting narratives here, right? So Dwayne Haskins still has not matured. He can't stay out of strip clubs. But Washington's in an interesting scenario here because they're going to have to discipline him. So I'm not sure if you guys were aware of the Dwayne Haskins strip club issues, but yes, he was at a strip club after the Sunday game. The team's going to fine him. The team will also choose disciplinary action. I mean, just you want to talk about selfish. I mean, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, you already got in trouble.
He wanted to get his little noodle wet. What do you mean?
I mean, but Tony, there's literally 2 weeks left. Once the season's over, do it every week. I mean, do it every day if you want. I mean, just 2 more weeks. So to me, it's crazy. And it puts Washington in a real tight situation because they lead the division. And if they bench him, I don't even know who their starter is. Because Alex Smith still can't go. I mean, you're really digging deep into the depth chart. And this is a game that, if they win, they probably win the division if they just win this game. So interesting situation. And it does matter because, look, if Haskins plays, I mean, they probably should be slightly favored, maybe by 1 or 1.5, like the line indicates. If he doesn't, though, I mean, you want to talk about a tough game to handicap. Overall, real ugly one from a sports betting angle. I'm interested to see who they end up starting. And yeah, I mean, Dwayne Haskins, like the dude gets another chance. Other guys get injured. He's able to come back. And the first game he wins, he's already back at the strip club. It's just a weird situation. Needless to say, going to be a game I more than likely entirely avoid. If another dude starts for Washington, though, and this line still kind of hovers in this area at like a pick'em or, Washington -1, I mean, how do you not like Carolina? But interesting to see how that news comes out and what it does. And cheap defenses as well. I'm not sure what Carolina's price defensively is, but I mean that would almost seem like a free square, especially if they're super cheap. But regardless, interested in your guys' take here because I don't have much of anything on this game as far as what I like.
Tony, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, it is interesting. I don't think I can really go with anything. Just looking at the plays on paper, we've talked about McLaurin all year, I should say. He just doesn't have the upside, like JSU said, all year, and I agree with them. And you look at the rest of these games, there's just plays I like more. And Washington's D's been good. That was Dunkel's best call of the year, honestly. Week 1, he was talking up Washington's D. They've held up all year. Sure, they're not a great team, but their defense is great. Their D-line is great, and I just don't see it. So this game is an easy fade for me. And there's enough action on even these late games to where I just don't need to go there. So I'm going to fade it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a spot where I would love for someone like Antonio Gibson. I don't know if he's 100% going to be back this week. I don't know what it is with him. I know he practiced limited on Wednesday. I would love to pick on Carolina's run D again, like we did with Aaron Jones last week. But I don't know. I don't know what the status with him is. So other than that, don't really love Terry McLaurin. Don't love any other Washington receivers. And then from the Carolina side, the offense is just so hard to back right now, honestly. And going up against this Washington defense doesn't make me feel that much better. The only person in this whole offense that I can really, truly back that I think is a stud is DJ Moore. I just don't know if we need it on this slate. But 5,800 for DJ Moore is honestly a value tag still because I see him as a mid to upper 6K receiver. So I do think that's a value price tag. It just depends on if I need it. If he fills like a final spot for me at that price tag, I'm cool with DJ Moore. But honestly, other than that, I don't love it. The other guy at tight end, Logan Thomas last week just went absolutely nuts. 15 targets, 13 catches, 100 yards. He didn't even score a touchdown, but had 26 fantasy points. I mean, God, I don't know if I can pay 4,900, but it's not a terrible spot here if he's getting all that volume. I hope I can find someone cheaper because I don't really want to pay 4,900, but if you had to do it, he is getting the volume, right, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I never disagree with plays like that. I don't mind. It's not one of my favorites because of the spot, but I never mind it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. All right, let's move it on. We got the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. 1 point spread here. Seahawks are the favorites. 47.5 is the total. Man, we don't really have a lot of high totals on this slate here, guys. This is a game where I feel like one side might be a little more heavier than the other side, but I think there could be some points scored in this game. Dunkel, what do you think about this total first and then the rest of the game?
So the most surprising thing about last week, of course, was the Rams losing. Now, I know that you could argue maybe it was Pittsburgh losing. I mean, tomato. But the Rams at home this year in the 5 games they played prior, maybe 6 games they played prior, this was one of the best defenses in like a decade as far as what their numbers were at home per play, points per game, red zone defense, like everything at home. The numbers are ridiculous what they were at home. So maybe they regressed to the mean a bit at home. But regardless, what an ugly performance. I mean, Jared Goff looked bad. The defense, I mean, the Jets were just gashing them up and down the field. But much like the Pittsburgh scenario, it's created kind of a perfect storm here. So this line, the market still likes Seattle, right? Seattle's defenses looked good. The Rams defenses looked good. So I know that JSU, you're talking about maybe potential points. I mean, these are two defenses that have looked pretty good the last few weeks. I'll throw out the Rams game last week. I'll call it an anomaly. I just, maybe they weren't prepared enough for the game. I mean, I don't know. I would expect McVay to be more prepared for games moving forward and maybe put an extra emphasis on this week in particular. Maybe they were looking ahead to this week to begin with, maybe. But regardless, so this line opens 2. It's down to 1.5. This is like a smash spot to tease in favor of the Rams. You take the Rams to 7.5. You take Pittsburgh to 7.5. Call it a day. And here's the thing with the Seahawks. I mean, have they even won outside of their Jets win? And I'm just trying to confirm this. So at the Falcons early, who were a mess, the Niners and the Jets. Those are the only 3 teams the Seahawks have beaten by more than 7 points this year. So, I mean, you can get the Rams, a team where Seattle clearly struggles against from a matchup standpoint. Get the Rams up to 7.5. It's a spot I really like. It's probably going to be a teaser I end up betting. I'm just going to see if maybe it could get a little better numbers on both ends, depending how Steam moves these. But, yeah, I mean, this will probably be the other leg to my teaser with taking the Rams up to 7.5. I just think from a matchup standpoint, it's not a good matchup for Seattle. And I get it, the Rams laid an egg last week, but that's what the NFL is, right? It's a week-to-week league. I'm definitely leaning the Rams, and it's going to be a spot I more than likely tease up to 7.5.
All right, leaning the Rams. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, that teaser looks. Again, it's the same thing like the uncle was saying. These spots just look so freaking good. Coming off a bad loss. This is one of those games, too, that's won some places right now, 1.5. You got to get it just because you don't want it to be in that no man's land. So if you see 1.5, lock it up because I don't see it getting higher for Seattle, and it's such a good spot for the Rams. I think Seattle's been a little overrated all season. Rams, I think, are still a good football team that just laid a stinker last week. Such a freaking good teaser game. Like, just absolutely love it. And as far as DFS, though, I don't know again. Like, I don't like as much from this spot. The next game we're going to get to is a clear-cut better game to me than this game. So you can always play the 2 Rams receivers, Woods and Kupp. Both prices are decent. Both floors are decent. Both ceilings are decent. But for me, I'm going to stay away. I'm just going to tease the game. DFS-wise, I doubt I'll have much outside of Woods or Kupp.
Yeah, and that's where I like it too. I like Woods and Kupp. Here, probably prefer Kupp if I had to choose, but I think they're both really good plays. Take the $400 discount on DraftKings. But yeah, I mean, no Cam Akers, Tony. Any interest in like a Darrell Henderson at 4,500? McVay said that both Henderson and Malcolm Brown will be heavily involved without Cam Akers. I mean, to me, Henderson's clearly the more talented running back of those two. Not with Cam Akers. 4,500. Do we have any interest there?
I don't love it, but I would definitely play him over Malcolm Brown. I could definitely see the upside if we get some good reports in practice this week. Obviously, we're recording a little earlier than usual because of the holiday. I don't love it, but again, like the problem with this week is the studs. You have so many cheap guys that are decent plays, but where do we spend our salary, which is not usually the issue. I just don't. I think this game's a low-scoring game. I think I just don't want to play Henderson.
Tony, I think that's why I didn't slam the door on not playing David Montgomery this week.
Yeah,
I just don't know where I'm
going to spend.
I just don't know where I'm going to spend my salary. Even if it's definitely going to be tough. I agree with you. I mean, maybe it is just playing like the Chiefs guys. Maybe you have to have.
We could end up there easily too. Because
seriously, maybe it's one of those things where you might play every lineup needs to have one of Tyreek or Kelsey. I don't know. If Tyreek plays, I don't know. It might come to that point in the slate where that's what we're doing here. Because I agree with you, it's really hard to pin down something right now. I will say DK Metcalf. He's a straight tournament. He's got the ultimate upside. He's 7,800 though.
You can't. I don't think you can play him against Ramsey.
I don't think we can say like you can't play him though here
I
because
mean, you could play him anytime. I shouldn't say
if
it like
let's
that.
like if Tyreek Hill is out, we're gonna have so much salary to spend. And like, I don't know, like Calvin Ridley's good, DK Metcalf, Allen Robinson,
I think like
and
everyone's better than Metcalf though against Ramsey.
so
Ramsey is just a stud.
you would just take Allen Robinson and Calvin Ridley straight up over DK Metcalf, not even
Yeah,
think about it.
definitely.
I don't know. I don't know if I feel
Ramsey's
that
just
way.
shut everyone down all year, and he's owned
didn't-
he's owned Metcalf even in the
He
past.
didn't shut down D-Hop in the second half. I'll tell you that. I'm telling you right now, these quarterbacks, like I get Ramsey's a beast, but you can't just shy away from, you have to throw his way. Like you can't just not throw to your best player because Ramsey's on him. I'm sorry. It's just a bad, you have to have confidence that your receiver can get it done, even if it is a tough matchup. Like I think it's a bad strategy for you to just take your own stud out of the game by not throwing to him because Ramsey's on. I think it's a terrible way. Like take shots down the field with them, test them. Like if they're gonna play him straight up one-on-one, like DK Metcalf is a monster, an absolute monster. So I don't know. I still think DK Metcalf's in play for tournaments, but I get what Tony's saying. It is a tough.
I mean, you can always play. Like people need to understand what I'm saying too. Like you can always play DK Metcalf because 2 bombs later he's in the winning lineup. Like you can always play studs. Always. Like never can you not play him. I just would rather play the other guys than.
Yep. Yeah. For me, I definitely would prefer Tyreek Hill if he was in. But I'm not sure on like Calvin Ridley and Allen Robinson. All right, let's move on to the last game because I agree with you. This is got to be the best, like from a fantasy perspective, or at least one of the best from a fantasy perspective. But let's talk about from a betting side first. Dunkel, we got the Eagles and the Cowboys. Divisional game. Eagles are the favorites here. -2 is the line. 49.5 is the total. Dunkel, what are we liking?
I mean, one of your typical serious late game hammers here, right? I mean, your typical spot where you go like a Hurts and you run it back with a few Cowboys players. It's tough to pair Hurts with receivers though. But as far as the total for this game, like, I mean, how does this game not like at least semi shoot out? I mean, both these teams should be able to score 3 touchdowns. It's going to be a matter if they get over that hump to get you past 50 because that's what the total is now. But I mean, wow, this Philly offense is like night and day with Hurts running it. And I know it's still early, but again, like when is Hurts going to be exposed? He's not going to be exposed against this Dallas defense. And Andy Dalton, continue to say this, like he's looked better. He's looked really good since he's taken this team back after he came back from injury. And Philly's defense is just so bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're good sometimes versus the run. But I mean, Cowboys have so many weapons from a receiver standpoint. And Jim Schwartz just can't do anything defensively from a play calling standpoint to stop anything through the air. All these guys are going to be more than likely single covered. Dalton's going to have his choice as far as each play goes. Multiple reads for him are going to be open. These receivers are too talented for this secondary. And even if the run game's working, like whether Zeke's in or not, Pollard looked great between the tackles last week and even catching passes. But I mean, Philly's offense has been starting to really come along and a lot better with Hurts. Last week was a game you could argue they should have won with how good that team looked offensively. And then Dallas, again, is a team that's been improving offensively. You could even argue improving defensively. But I don't want any part of this spread. To me, this is a complete coin flip, which I guess would mean there's some value on Dallas, but I can't bet Dallas in the spot. But I do lean the over in this game. It's tough to imagine this game not scoring points. Like even if the over doesn't hit for you, like this game's not going to be like, 10-7 or 17-7. There's going to be points in this game. It's going to be a matter if they can get over that number for you. But either way, lean over 49.5, 50, pending your vote.
I like that lean. I like the over. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it. I like it more from a betting perspective than anything because, for one, you got a teaser game again. Dallas up to 8.5 even. I think that should be a good play. Not as much of a lock as the other games because it's still the Cowboys, so don't like it quite as much as those ones, but still falls in line. The hard part for me is the DFS side. We got a lot of questionable people. We got 2 teams that what's the playoff status for these teams? The Cowboys are obviously done, I'm sure. Can Philly still get in if stuff happens?
Well, for
Yeah,
me,
so
it's a close race, but I think they're all still kind of in play.
Even
they're
Dallas.
they're not eliminated. So okay, so the Eagles are technically the bottom of the division, but they're only, I'm pretty sure, 2 games out. If I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, because it's 6 and 8, and yeah, they're not getting in.
So they're probably not getting in. They would need Washington to pretty much lose out. They
They
would
would
need
need
to
Washington
win.
to lose twice, and they'd have to win twice,
Yeah. So I mean, and they're
which could
playing the
happen.
Cowboys. They could win. The Washington could lose.
Yeah, I mean, if they beat the Cowboys, then they're ahead of them for sure. The Giants play a game they are gonna lose. So if they win, yeah, if they win and Washington loses, they're only 1 game back. If Washington wins, though, then they're done. So yeah,
They're done.
I don't
Yeah.
know. They got a slight chance, it looks like. But as far as fantasy, though, like it's easy to play Hurts. It's tougher to figure out who to play with him because of how he plays. He runs a lot, makes plays, spreads it around. It's one of those things where you can play him naked, but now his price is getting up there too. He's up to $7K. He's not quite as cheap as he was the last couple weeks. I like this game a lot more betting wise. It's easy to bet the over. It's easy to bet the teaser. It's a lot harder for me to figure out fantasy wise, honestly. Dalton is cheap, but you don't have that rushing upside. Hurts is fine, but the players, I don't know, like nothing really sticks off the page to me. I like Miles Sanders a ton at that price point against Dallas. I like Amari Cooper and these receivers, CD Lamb, Gallup if he plays. I like these guys, but I'm not in love with any of them, honestly. I want some exposure to it, though, so hopefully JSU likes something to get me on here, but nothing sticks out to me as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, I liked CD Lamb last week. I said, Dalton, he likes going in the slot areas where you want to be at. CD Lamb had a good game, solid game. I think we can go right back to him at 5,300. I think all these receivers are kind of in play. The problem is narrowing it down. I really like Miles Sanders, man. I've been I've been on him wrong week, and then the next week's the right week, and then on him again, and I haven't gotten him right yet. This has got to be the week. Like Miles Sanders week, this has to be the week he goes off. He's going to do it for us. So I like him. And then it's just, I don't know, Rager. I mean, Rager to me is like the only receiver from Philly that I can kind of get behind. Like it's really tough to get behind. They got Quinn Watkins going out there and catching screen passes, and Fulgham a little bit, Alshon, Greg Ward. I don't know. It's really tough to guess. I'm just going to take Rager probably and move on. And then maybe if I wanted a cheap tight end, Dallas Goedert or Dalton Schultz might fit the bill there. And then after that, like I hope Zeke doesn't play again. I really want another Tony Pollard week because I just play him again and move on there because he's good. He is very good. From the quarterbacks, Tony, Hurts or Dalton, like, do you like Hurts at 7K or is that too much?
I don't think I like him. I'm not going to say I won't play him, but man, I liked him better when he was cheaper. And I still think he could have a stinker here at some point. Like I liked him. I was on him the first 2 weeks because he was in a great spot and he was cheaper. I just don't, I have a weird feeling about him this week that he might not put on the same type of show that he has, especially this is a big game. It's their last hope for these teams to maybe get in the playoffs. I just don't feel good about it. I don't know. I like some other spots. Like I'd rather play Deshaun Watson than him.
You rather play Deshaun Watson? Wow. That's interesting. I think I take Hurts, honestly. The way he's been running the football, design runs too. I think I would take Hurts over Watson right now. Maybe that's just kind of biased after 2 games, but yeah, I think I would. I think we talked about pretty much most of this game. Tony, anything else before we get out of here?
No, I think that's it. I mean, another week in the we're down to one regular season week. I mean, I'm sure we'll still do some playoff content and stuff, but been a fun year, and everyone that watches, have a Merry Christmas and everything.
Yeah, I feel like this slate is got to be one of the honestly the worst slates that we've had from
There's
a
just no
fantasy
studs
side.
on the main slate.
It's gonna be kind of straightforward. I feel like for what people are gonna want or do, but I mean, yeah, that I like the plays. The plays to me, like Tony, I don't know about you, but they don't really like. There's not a ton that just stick out.
Yeah, no,
Like
there's not.
that's the thing with this slate. Like
This time of
normally
year,
we
though,
get a
we could have
ton.
some news break before Sunday. It's early in the week. Who knows what'll happen by then? It might be a lot clearer by then.
Yeah, for sure. And guys, if you're looking for more content, we've got the NBA Christmas video that'll cover the NBA Christmas Day slate. That's going to come out tomorrow. I think we're doing the show at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Then we'll have a Showdown show after that covering the NFL Showdown game on Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have two shows. Well, one show each night leading up to lock for NBA, and then going right in talking about NFL Showdown for the nightcapper for both Saturday and Sunday's game. We're going to have those guys just stay on. I think me and Title are going to do the Saturday night show. And then I can't remember who's on the Sunday night show, but we'll get on at 6 or 6:15 Eastern, talk about the NBA slate, and then move over to NFL once the NBA locks up. So that should be interesting too. Hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll have all our normal content out. Dunkel, anything you guys are doing for the bet side?
No, I mean, I have the video for college football for tomorrow's game for Christmas Eve. I'm going to have a video for the NFL game on Christmas, and then we'll have some live shows as well, of course, as always on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of fun, a ton of sports going on. We're going to have a ton of content out. Make sure you guys, obviously, if you're a DFS subscriber and not a bet subscriber, get over, check out the bet side. Dunkel gives out free plays all the time on his Twitter as well. So does guys like Joey Work and all the other guys over there. So make sure to get over, follow those guys. Get some free bets. If they win you some money, sign up at the bet side, and it's really good content there from those guys. So make sure you check that out. But that's going to do it for us. So boys, we'll see you guys next week. A Merry Christmas to everyone watching. Dunkel, Merry Christmas to you. Tony, I guess, Merry Christmas to you as well.
Yes. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right, that's going to do it, folks. For me, JSU, Uncle Dunkel, Big T. We'll see you later.